Hey guys, it's Mr. Webb here with your final video. I have good news for you guys. You have no quiz this week. Just this video to kind of go over different personality disorders. And then your main homework is a chart. It shouldn't be too bad. It's kind of like a summary of everything. Just fill out that chart and you're done. Um, I cannot believe that this is my goodbye to you guys, and I hope that you guys have a nice summer, and all of you that are graduating, good luck. The rest of you, I will see next year. Whenever you guys have questions, let me know. You can always call me, talk to me, email me, Zoom me, whatever. I'm around. So, with that, let's get on to the final lesson. So, we're going to look at three different personality disorders, and we're going to discuss like the prevalence of different psychological disorders today. So, personality disorders are issues like disorders that affect somebody's like inflexible, enduring, social functioning, like mental processes. So like everybody gets mad. That doesn't mean that you have a personality disorder. But if you stay mad at everybody all day, every day, that's a personality disorder. Um, the really crazy thing about personality disorders is that when people suffer from them, they don't have anxiety or depression, or like they don't think what they're doing is like normal. Like most of the time, it's like flat for them. It's completely normal and completely average. Um, so there's a few different like clusters of personality disorders. Personality disorders are a lot more vague than other psychological disorders. Um, so somebody could have like an avoidant personality disorder, like where that person like feels anxious about everything and fearful about everything. Other times you'll see like somebody will go catatonic, like where they are like a flat affect. That is like a schizoid personality disorder, like where they are just like the other one that's much more common or we notice the most is somebody that's extremely impulsive and self-focused and self-inflating is somebody with a narcissistic personality disorder. That's the one that you see by far the most. Antisocial personality disorder is one of the most common ones as well. It's a personality disorder where the person doesn't understand that they've done something wrong. It's typically boys. These are people that typically lie and steal and cheat. They fight all the time. They have many sexual partners. They have tons of kids. They tend to be actually really charming people, um, but they have no sense of wrongdoing or guilt or anything. Like I knew somebody that I'm almost certain had antisocial personality disorder because like he was the kid at baseball practice that would walk up behind somebody and take a full swing with a baseball bat at somebody's knees and laugh when the person was writhing on the ground. And another time, I saw him driving to a baseball game take a bolt, like that big bolt, out of his car, flick it through the windshield, like through the window, and smoke another oncoming car's windshield. And he laughed at that. Like that was the craziness of this kid. This kid did not make sense. And he like that is a great example of antisocial personality disorder. He did not understand that he had done something wrong. To him, that was perfectly normal. He didn't feel bad about it. He didn't feel guilty about it. It was just straightforward. Um, the weird thing about antisocial personality disorder is that all of their um, like stress or arousal is minimized compared to a normal person. So a normal person has X amount of adrenaline in their system. Whereas when you go and you see a normal person with antisocial personality disorder, in a normal circumstance, they're here. So they're always a little bit below. So they don't get stressed in the same way. Furthermore, if you put them in a super stressful area, like let's say in a war, A normal person is freaking out, whereas a person with antisocial personality disorder is this now getting to the point where a normal person would be, or maybe even just slightly above. Um, it's really crazy because this can be a two-way street. Like we've all seen people that were super aggressive and violent in a classroom, and you're just like, wow, that kid's nuts. But you put them on a football field, and everybody thinks they're amazing. Um, you do the same thing with young people in a war. You know, somebody doesn't fit into society, somebody that's really aggressive and mean and callous, all of a sudden you drop them in a battlefield and they're praised for that. And so people with antisocial personality disorders have different places where they can find like a niche. Um, one of the most common things that people that are murderers have is antisocial personality disorder. And you can see it here. This is your frontal cortex. This is where a normal person thinks of long-term consequences. But look at it here on a murderer. It doesn't exist. Like it's not firing. And so a lot of times people with antisocial personality disorder use their cerebellum, which is like the instinctual animal part of our brain. And so they do things like that, they live like an animal would, like where they make decisions based off of like animal tendencies, immediate gratification, and things like that. All different psychological disorders have different rates all over the world. And so that's one of the things that you have to understand is that throughout the world there's all different rates of all different things. So alcohol abuse is different in Americans than it was 30 years ago. And it's different in America than it is in Canada, and it's different in Canada than it is in Brazil. So these rates are very different. And again, some of these disorders don't exist in other countries. The one that's fairly consistent across the world at 1% is schizophrenia. Um, the other big one that's consistent across the world is a mood disorders, so like depression at about 5%. One thing that is really interesting to me, at least, and is that the amount of mental disorders or psychological disorders inside of the United States. So the United States has a fairly high, um, compared to other developed countries, amount of serious mental disorders, and an extremely high when you go compared to Germany of any type of psychological disorder. Why is that? What is it that does that? Is it because of where we live? Is it because of how we act? Is it because Americans are more open and willing to share that than other countries? There's all these really interesting things, and it really needs to be studied more closely. So as you go through, the big takeaway from doing the psychological disorder is psychological disorders are extremely common. Almost a third of people inside of the United States have a psychological disorder or have had a psychological disorder. You need to understand that psychological disorders change as you go across the country. No, psychological disorders are normal. It is okay and normal. It doesn't make you crazy or weird or different or anything else. We all have psychological disorders at some point in our life. The important thing is to talk to somebody, realize you're not crazy, realize you're not losing it or whatever, and there's things that can be done to help you. Um, if not, guys, just make sure you complete that chart and submit it. Good luck.